PHP is a weird language. It has so many idiosyncrasies or edge cases or just strange stuff that it does and can do, and these might be useful when you're looking at an application going against it in a capture the flag competition or pen test or bug bounty or what have you. Anyway, in this video, I want to showcase one of those strange things that you can do with PHP that we saw as part of the Red Team Village capture the flag within DEF CON 30, this year's competition. It was a ton of fun, but I wanted to bring this to you, and hopefully you might be able to learn a cool trick with it. So let's hop over to the computer screen and get started. Okay, so I'm going to be working in my Kali Linux virtual machine, and I just want to recreate this challenge for you so you can kind of get an idea as to what the heck this thing was. Granted, I'm not going to be spinning this thing up in a Docker container. I'm not going to be, hey, making some formality out of here. I just want to show this to you for the sake of education. So we'll go ahead and put this just inside of a temporary directory, creating a challenge for us that we might be able to build out the application that we were presented during this capture the flag competition. So there was a flag variable created inside this PHP file, and this PHP file was hosted just on, hey, some Apache Nginx web server that we were able to interact with from our web browser, right? Anyway, it created a flag variable that looked like just the location of the flag. It was, temp challenge or whatever the current working directory was. I think in their case it was a var www html, but we'll go ahead and just say, there was a flag there that matched a pattern, a regular expression pattern, right? So that's why I'm going to be using A through F, 0 through 9, about 15 times. If you aren't familiar, these square braces mean in regular expressions, hey, we're going to be looking at characters within a set, and we can move through letters A through F lowercase, A through F capital, and 0 through 9. This is just going to be hexadecimal, really. A through F, 0 through 9, base 16, but it had about 15 characters that would follow, and it ended in just a simple dot text. Now, what you might not notice, and we didn't realize until a bit after, that this string here is the flag itself for the challenge. It is not the contents of that file, it's the file name, literally, is what you can submit to the scoreboard. So that's just what we needed to find. But the functionality of the website was checking if you had passed in a get HTTP parameter, just a directory that you wanted to look up. And then we would loop through every single new directory iterator object that you would just pass in what this directory might have been that you simply pass through the application, right? Every single one of these for each new one, I have a whole lot of parentheses, and maybe that's making this a little confusing for myself. No, okay, that's just the directory iterator object that we're creating, and then this new ends it right here. Do I have a spare parenthesis somewhere? I do, yeah. This will encapsulate the new argument or the new object that's created while we're passing in the arguments and parameters for the directory iterator. We'll say for each of those as a variable f as we loop through them, right? And then inside of this loop, what we do is we would simply echo out that file that are iterated through the directory and retrieve its size. That's why we use F and the arrow notation to get its size, and we'll add a new line. In fact, I'm actually going to go ahead and add a break because that is going to be an HTML rendered out for us, but that's all that we really needed to do there. Otherwise, if that file or HTTP parameter, just the directory, was not set, it would go ahead and display the source code of this by using that highlight file function in PHP. So that way it'll just, hey, spit it out on the screen and we'll be able to see it. So that was it. That's literally the application. And this is what we were presented with to break into. We were able to see the source code because of the highlight file, but we didn't have access to the server, didn't have access to anything else really. It's just seeing this application in the web browser. Let me show you that. What we can do is if we hop on over back to our terminal, I'll use PHP, and let me check the version super quick. Yeah, so I'm on PHP 8.1.2. And I'll go ahead and run PHP tac s just to serve it locally on all addresses, so 0.0.0.0. And we'll slap it on port 8000 or whatever. Nice and easy. Cool. Now we have a development server running for us. Good. So what I could do is open up my web browser And I will go over to localhost 8000, but it looks like I had a mistake. There is an error here. Oh, syntax error, unexpected token if. Do I just have a rent? Oh, I forgot a semicolon. Curse you, PHP. Doing me dirty like that. All right, now let's Control-Shift-R. I'm going to press both those, all of those on my keyboard so that we can hard refresh and like clear the cache. Now we have the display of our source code just accessible to us as it would have been presented for the challenge sake, right? So we know that we can pass in an HTTP parameter, passing it in as a URL variable because we know that we're pulling this from the GET protocol and methods, right? So let's use a dir of /, right? Because what this application does, albeit extremely simple, is it looks through every single file inside of a directory and just tells us the size. So let's check out what the dir of my root file system folder location is. It's all of the sizes of the stuff present in my root directory, right? And we can actually check that out. Let's open up another terminal super quick. Let me go ahead and ls tac la on that root or / directory here. There you can see all these files, 4096, 4096, 7, 4096, blah, blah, blah. And the size matches pretty much what we saw up here. Let's see, is there a 7 anywhere? Or maybe that's tracking something different. Oh, yeah, it's a I believe, symbolic link, so that might be doing weird shenanigans. Do I have a 12288? I do. So, okay. This is the functionality of the application. If I wanted to find where the flag might be, being in the current directory, very, very likely, I could look for a period for the current directory. What do I have in the current directory, though? Let's ls tac la period for my current directory. Looks like I have the index.php, the file itself, at 219 bytes. I have the parent directory, 12.2888, and I think I said too many 8s there. And the current directory, 4096. That's always normally for the current directory, 4096. Or oftentimes you might see that for other directories just as well. Now, with that said, we need to have a flag file. Yep. We're not done creating this challenge just yet, so let's go ahead and create a, I guess let's echo, I don't know what that is, thanks Z Shell for auto-completing it. Let's just put a please subscribe as the contents, because again, the contents doesn't matter, into a flag with a random hexadecimal thing, up to 15 characters, right? So, let me just, let's echo that again. And let's just slap that into MD5 hash. Cool. Now I have random hex. I'm just going to open this in Sublime Text so that I could grab what is about the 15th character here. Looks like up to there, or 14 characters selected. Let's grab the 3. So now I have 15 characters selected. Super cool. Let's go ahead and now run that same thing again, but redirect that to a flag with the random hash there, or the hexadecimal characters, .text, right? Cool. So now looking at this directory, I have a flag, and remember, this itself is the flag that you would submit to the scoreboard. Only the file name is what we're interested in. But if we go back to our application, we're just going to get the file size within the directory of the current directory, so I'll use a period, and there is our 17 as our file size for that file. Now, you might be thinking, and I agree with you, great. This doesn't really help us. This application doesn't give us the contents of the file. It doesn't give us the file name. There's nothing that we could really do to take advantage of this, right? Well, let's start to think. If we're approaching this from a pen test perspective or bug bounty or capture the flag, right, there's not a lot that's really versatile or dynamic in that we could play with, right? The flag variable is constantly set. The isSet function is normal. It just checks if a variable is set and has a value. The for each function, well, we get the object's size. Could we fool that or trick that in any way? And those are generated from a new directory iterator object. So without anything really to latch onto, let's try and do some research. What is this directory iterator object? Is that something that I could kind of learn more about in PHP? Let's go see. Okay, looks like we have some documentation that we could check out. Here it is here, the directory iterator class. The directory iterator class, the directory iterator class provides a simple interface for viewing the contents of file system directories. Okay. Looks like we have methods that we could call here to get file properties like its name, its group, access time, modify time, get path, of course, get size. That must be what we're running. So we could click on that. All it does is it returns the file size and it takes no parameters. So there's nothing we could particularly trick there. Is there some special input that we could give to the directory iterator? Like the constructor itself? It is our get variable, so could we pass in like an array? Let's try and do that. Let me get back to my localhost 8000. And now let's try and send a directory that is open square braces. Nope, that breaks it. Since we're running this on our own, we could check what we have here. The error says it failed to open directory, no such file or directory. Okay, because bear in mind this needs directories, right? I could check out etc. and there's a ton of stuff there, or bin, or my home directory. Maybe we could find SSH keys, but again, you don't get the contents. You don't get anything valuable, just the size, which is a random number. So what could we do? We could look if there are vulnerabilities to directory. Oh, here's some stuff. Some HackerOne things. F-support articles here. Vulners has a couple. CV 2019-11-045. Let's take a look. HackerOne. What are you telling me here? Oh, in PHP version 7.2x below 7226, etc. The directory iterator class accepts file names with an embedded null byte, \0, and treats them as a terminating byte. Terminating null byte, right? Treats them as terminating at that byte. This could lead to security vulnerabilities and applications checking paths. The code is allowed to access that. Really won't help us all that much because we still only get to know the size. And this doesn't even affect us because our version of PHP is less than or greater than that, right? Looks like every single thing, yeah, I'll attach that CVE as this bug. So that isn't helpful. Doesn't match our version, doesn't match what we need to accomplish. That's going to be a lost cause. So what could we do? Okay, so let me break the fourth wall now. Let's kind of stop beating around the bush, putting on the show, but let's talk about what we could take advantage of. Remember, PHP has these weird idiosyncrasies and gimmicks and just stuff that it can do, like passing an array into the argument of a get parameter or whatever, and maybe changing an object's type or type juggling, all the weird stuff that you know, magic hashes. What else is there? What about PHP protocols? Like you've seen a PHP : input, right? Or zip or far for PHP archive stuff, right? Maybe there's something we could latch onto with some of the PHP protocols. So let me Google that. Let me look up PHP protocols. Yeah, supported protocols and wrappers. PHP comes with many built-in wrappers for various URL style stuff. Let's go check out that documentation. This is what we had seen before. The URL syntax used to describe a wrapper only supports the scheme syntax. Okay. Oh, and here are a couple different of those schemes, right? HTTP, as we've seen, or file : / We were basically doing file : / because we're looking at stuff on the file system. Then what else could we do? PHP, data, zlib. Oh, glob. Find path names matching a pattern with glob. Would glob be an option? Would it support that? Like when I looked in the current directory with a period, I know that is basically the same as looking at temp challenge, which I know is the current directory of this, right? Yeah, so that's the same exact result. So using that syntax, could I use the glob : / opportunity? Okay, so I didn't give it a folder there, but if I give it /, no. What about temp? No. Challenge? Whoa, what the heck? It got the folder. Oh, and I didn't add a ending / there. So I added the ending /, goes away. Okay, so that didn't work. But when I did that with temp, did I just not need the /? Yeah, okay, so then it will know that exact directory. Adding the /, it can't track it down. What about challenge / doesn't have anything? Period? No, that gets the current directory. How do I get my flag file? Flag dot. If actually, since we're globbing, we could use like a wildcard, right? The asterisk. Ooh. That actually works just fine for us, right? So if I went to temp challenge asterisk, that will return all those files, right? Index.php being 219 and the flag file being 17. If I wanted to specifically look at flag 17, that returns for us. Now, what if I tried like a flag A? Doesn't return. B doesn't return. C, okay. What if we tried those numbers, right? Obviously, what we're doing here is just adding some sort of beginning substring, right? Because we can use a wildcard, it's like we're adding a prefix however many times that we want until we brute force to find the next character that was correct. Because we're using this wildcard to fill out the whole rest of that string there. So using glob, we could leak potentially whatever the next character is, right? We know, oh, F to start the flag, L to be the next letter, A to be the next letter. But if we had the wrong character like B, does not return. So we'll need to go ahead and try and leak this out by brute force. Let's do something to write that, right? Let's script this together. I'm going to call this just attack.py or whatever stupid thing that you want. And then we'll just crank out a cheesy Python script where we can go ahead and hammer this thing. Sure, you could do it in burp. Sure, you could do it in whatever. Let's just go ahead and make this really easy. What I'm going to do is I want to do get on a URL that we'll create as a variable. We know that's going to be localhost 8000 HTTP. And then we'll go ahead and get that URL and we'll pass in parameters, the params that we would supply as a get variable. So dir, we know we're going to want that to be, well, let's test it real first with the /. I'll store that as a variable. We'll just say response, right? And now let's print out that response.text. Cool. I'm going to hit Control B to run this. And that's actually probably going to spit out a whole lot of vertical text. What I want to do is slap this to the other side. So I'm going to use build view. It looks like I don't have build view installed. I want to slap that into another pane. So let me go ahead and install build view super duper quick. Build view is a Sublime Text plugin to send all that output into another tab. And that way you could not have to see that bottom pane pop up, but slap it into something else like build output over here. If I run this super quick, maybe it needs to be restarted. Let's try that with a clean slate. Attack.py is the name of this thing. If I hit Control B, there we go. Now it's slapping over on that other side. Cool. So we know that we can use our glob protocol and basically read temp challenge everything with our wildcard, right? So let's run that. And there are all of our values, 17 being the flag file that we're interested in, just based off of its name. How could we leak that? Well, we know it'll start with flag. So let's try to get together a pool of characters that we know might be next in that list. Really, it's A, B, C, D, E, F, A, B, C, D, E, F, lowercase and then uppercase, and then the numbers 0 through 9 to create hex, right? So let's create an array of what we have leaked so far. We'll make that just a simple list based off of the word flag, because we know that's what we're going to have already. And then what we could do is we could say, while leaked so far, the length of leak so far is not equal to 4 characters plus 15, right? So 4 plus 15 being the hex that we're going to end up pulling here. That's 19 characters, right? So while it's not 19, we can keep looping. And we can loop through every single character in our pool of characters. I realize I'm kind of clobbering this at the moment, so pretend that's not there. Let's do 4 each character in our pool of characters. What we could do Oh, godness. I'm writing Python this time, not not PHP. I'm sorry. I added like strict curly braces rather than a colon. For each character in the pool of characters, what we could do is we could send, we'll create that as a variable. Let's do like our glob :/ temp challenge plus our joined together leaked so far. And can I put these on new lines or something? I wanted this to be kind of segmented a bit. I think I can do that. Let's just use str and then put those together. Does that work for me? Because we'll add in what we've leaked so far and then add in the new character that we are testing, right? Add in each character as we move through it. And we could print out what we send. Okay, thanks, Black. Black, I'm using the Python Black linter, so it's trying to slap that all together in one line for me. Anyway, I don't want to do this loop, the while loop just now. I just kind of want to validate this is doing what I think it's going to do. So let me go ahead and check that out in build output. There we go. You see it is working. A, B, C, etc., etc., etc. So while we send one of these, what we can do is go ahead and actually make that request, right? Let's go grab the syntax that we had previously, and let's change our dir parameter to the variable that we sent. And then we can retrieve the response text and validate, hey, if response.text is an empty string, then we were wrong, right? We'll continue. If not, then we know, okay, we must have got a value. We must have actually seen something come back. So we can print correct next character is, and let's just add in, well, whatever cheesy each character that we were looking at, right? And then we could break, because now we would move on for the next iteration with our while loop. Does that make sense? Let's try and run this. I need to drag the build output over here. And that's not seen it just yet, so I must have something wrong with our response text. Let's validate that just by some debugging. Let's go ahead and print out what we are sending, or how about our send, right? And then print out the response dot text. Let's not do that loop just yet, but let's just go ahead and see how does this look. Blah, blah, blah. Ooh, glob challenge still is not coming together with a result for me. Oh, I forgot to add our asterisk. That would be why. The asterisk is crucial because that is what's acting as the wild card, right? That's what's going to try and glob for the whole rest of the string to grab it, despite the fact that, oh, we've given this prefix. As long as it matches this prefix, we can get that next and retrieve that file name. Let's check that out one more time. I'll go get our build output. There we go. 17 is the only thing that has a response based off of our number 7. And all the others did return an empty string. So we could go back to testing with this. Check that out. Correct next character is 7. So our code was able to properly determine that. If that is the correct next character, well, we want to break, but we need to add that to our leaked so far, right? So let's append what we've leaked so far to be our correct next character. See what I'm doing? I'm building up by this brute force process. Now let's try and turn on our while leaked so far is not equal to 19, building all of this and properly determining the next character every single time. We could actually change this print statement to be like determined, and then we could actually join together our leaked so far after we've added the new correct character to it. Let's try and run that. I'll bring this build output over here. Let's run this with Control B, and there we go. Look at that. You see how that like brute force super duper quick? Because hey, we've had it loop through each of those potential numbers, those potential characters in that hex syntax, and now we've determined this real flag value, which it is literally, this is the flag, right? If I go ahead and take a look, 7FEF ending in 23, 7FEF ending in 23. That's what we retrieved, and there we go. This would be the flag that we'd go ahead and submit, and based off of using the glob protocol or whatever wrapper in PHP, we're able to kind of get around the stupid limitation of only retrieving the size of the file and leak out its file name. Kind of a neat little exfil technique, kind of a neat little thing. But hey, of course you could do this in Burp Suite. Of course you could do this in, I don't know, whatever tool that you want if you're a Zap friend. Anyway, I wanted to cut this together in Python, so we've got a nice little script to encapsulate it. And then just like that, we can retrieve the proper flag and submit that for points on the board. So that is that, everybody. Kind of a neat little thing. Maybe you haven't seen that before with PHP, or you had a little bit of fun cutting together some Python code with me, or just seeing that process. Both seeing it built, creating it and writing that code, and then beating it up and exploring what we could do with the puzzle pieces that we have. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do all those YouTube algorithm things. If you'd like the video, leave a comment, subscribe. I love reading your comments, and honestly, there's like 50% of you that aren't subscribed and you watch this content, which breaks my heart. It brings a tear to my eye. It brings a tear to both eyes at the same time. Sequentially is not the same time. Simultaneously. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, everybody. Please, if you'd like to support the channel, there is a link to the Patreon in the description. There's a link to PayPal if that's easier for you or anything. I just appreciate you and all of your support. Thanks so much, everybody. I'll see you in the next one.